Coming up on this edition of We Are Washington.
Don't wait, vaccinate. A new campaign urges parents to take advantage of free immunizations. Plus, the Kennedy Center extends its reach.
In time, it'll be a space that the people make.
We'll take you on a tour of the new expansion.
Then it's a D.C. tradition in full bloom.
I think that's why people can always identify with something here.
We'll meet the unsung heroes behind the breathtaking beauty of the gardens at the National Cathedral.
Those stories are coming up. The news rundown is straight ahead. We Are Washington starts now. Welcome to We Are Washington. I'm Matt Granato.
And I'm Cecily Fernandez. This week we're talking about an ambitious mixed-use development underway in Ward 5. The district's long-standing tennis tradition at Rock Creek Park gets an upgrade, and D.C. health officials launch Don't Wait, Vaccinate, providing free immunizations around the city.
Then it's the story of the highly anticipated Kennedy Center expansion called The Reach. The massive project includes both indoor and outdoor spaces, a large-scale video wall, soaring pavilions, and a pedestrian bridge, all designed to create a living theater where visitors can become part of the art around them. We'll have those features coming up on the way, but now let's get to the news rundown. Construction has begun on a massive 13-acre mixed-use development called Bryant Street that will bring 487 apartment units to Northeast. Mayor Muriel Bowser, along with Ward 5 Councilmember Kenyon McDuffie, helped break ground on Phase 1 of Bryant Street development, which is adjacent to the Rhode Island Avenue Metro Station.
We are delivering on two really big commitments: providing housing options for our residents close to public transportation, and working toward our vision to rejuvenate dated infrastructure in neighborhoods all across the city.
Along with hundreds of multifamily units, Phase 1 of Bryant Street includes a plaza, a dog park, and a 9-screen Alamo Drafthouse cinema.
Don't wait, vaccinate. That's the message of a new campaign urging district parents to take advantage of free immunizations offered at 42 health centers across all 8 wards. At the kickoff of Mayor Bowser's Don't Wait, Vaccinate campaign, district leaders stressed the importance of immunizations for children and teens attending schools in D.C.
People have been watching what's been happening nationally. We've seen an increased amount of interest at our office with measles, and we want to make sure that we are ahead of the game here in D.C.
Immunizations are the single most important way to protect families against serious and sometimes deadly diseases.
As a pediatrician, we love vaccines because it is one of the most important things we can do for the health of children and that parents can do for the health of children. And I know from firsthand, when I started my training at Children's Hospital 20 years ago, we used to see a lot of diseases that are now prevented from vaccines.
For more information on the community health centers providing free immunizations, visit dc.gov.
DC Water and the district government want to help you pay your water bill. Yes, you heard that right. DC Water is extending its expanded customer assistant programs for another year. The programs are funded by both DC Water and the district government and are meant to provide relief from the Clean Rivers Impervious Area charges that are part of customer bills. Those who qualify could save as much as $760 a year with discounts on those CREAC charges, as well as water and sewer service. To apply, you can call 311 or go online to dcwater.com/customer assistance.
There are some changes coming to this year's Kids Ride Free program. Starting this school year, all Kids Ride Free Smart Trip cards will be delivered directly to all D.C. public and charter schools. Students who have lost or misplaced cards can receive a replacement at Deanwood or Judiciary Square D.C. One Card centers. The Kids Ride Free program was established by Mayor Muriel Bowser to ensure D.C. students could get to and from school for free on Metro Rail, bus, and D.C. Circulator.
If you've looked for parking in Penn Quarter or Chinatown recently, you might have noticed some big changes at the meters. The changes are part of a district pilot program designed to reduce congestion and improve parking availability through variable rate parking. The new meter rates differ depending on location, which means you could pay as little as $1 an hour or as much as $7 an hour to park. The rate changes cover about 1,000 on-street parking spaces in Northwest between 11th Street, 3rd Street, 8th Street, and East Street. A new pop-up kiosk at Reagan National Airport showcases the diversity of products that share the label Made in D.C.
From shea butter to fine chocolates and eco-friendly nail polish, the Made in DC kiosk gives visitors a chance to pick up some great souvenirs and support local DC businesses. Made in DC is a program by the DC Department of Small and Local Business Development to support and promote the city's makers.
I feel like the job of DSLBD and my pride and privilege as the director of DSLBD is to amplify and shine a light on the great work of the brands of our wonderful city, and then to let our makers do what they do best, shine and be awesome. And I think that this kiosk does just that.
I really wanted to connect more to the maker community in DC and entrepreneurs who are like me. And honestly, it wasn't until the creation of the Made in DC program that I started getting looped in and connected to other brand makers like myself. And so the idea and concept of the pop-up collaborative is really inspired by an African proverb. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
The Made in DC kiosk is located in Terminal B outside of security, so you don't need a plane ticket to visit the pop-up shop. 40 years ago, Sugar Hill Gang's Rapper's Delight brought hip-hop to a wide audience, spurring a major shift in the music industry. In honor of the anniversary of the iconic rap, DC native Dave Mays created the Hip Hop Museum pop-up experience and is now taking the show on the road. The pop-up experience tour kicked off in D.C. with a grand opening celebration that featured a ceremony honoring DJ Clark Kent with a Hip Hop Legacy Award, along with a panel discussion on the love affair between hip-hop and sneakers. The traveling museum boasts the largest collection of authentic hip-hop artifacts and memorabilia in the world.
That's all I'm really trying to do with this, situation is, what I've always done through my career is, just try to make it authentic, keep it to the culture, keep it to the streets, bring everybody together under one, umbrella, and let things happen.
Next up on the Hip Hop Museum Pop-Up Experience Tour, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. To learn more, visit hiphopmuseumdc.org.
It's a new era for the City Open as it returned to Rock Creek Park Tennis Center with a new look and new management. The City Open has been delighting district tennis fans since 1969 and is among the largest professional tennis tournament in the U.S. Entrepreneur Mark Ian, who owns the Washington Castles, assumed management of the 9-day top-tier tennis event this spring.
DC, it's one of the things I've learned since I got involved in this only 5-6 months ago. People really love coming to DC. And so it's not hard to attract them here, but now especially with the elevated experience for players, I think you're going to see fantastic player fields long into the future. And so you get great players from all over the world coming here, but then what makes this tournament so special for so long is local stars get their first break here. So the Francis Tiafos and Dennis Kudlas.
Part of the new look of this summer's City Open included an air-conditioned tent called Market Square with high-end concessions, including many options by celebrity chef Jose Andres. The 2019 City Open marks its 51st year in D.C.
There is a new queen of D.C.
The winner is Karen Hauser Hall.
Congratulations to Ward 6 resident Karen Hauser Hall, who is crowned 2019's American Classic Woman of the Year. The 19th annual pageant was held at the Lincoln Theater and showcases senior ladies of D.C. 55 years and older. The American Classic Woman of the Year serves as an ambassador for the D.C. senior community and represents D.C. at national events.
Okay, a lot happening this week, but we do have time for a short recap of some of our news items. American Classic Woman Pageant.
Great event. The ladies all had a wonderful time.
Yeah.
I wanted to mention that Mayor Bowser's mother, Joan, was honored as an honorary Queen of D.C. And I'm sure for Mayor Bowser, her mom is always Queen of D.C. But it was nice. The whole family was out. They had a great time.
Moving on, I want to talk about the Made in D.C. pop-up kiosk. What I think is great about this is that now people who are traveling here or traveling through D.C. can see what's available, what they can maybe purchase, or maybe they can see the talents that entrepreneurs in this area have. Where before you might have had to travel out to DuPont Circle. Maybe that's not on your path that you're here visiting. So this is great, an opportunity.
If you're like me and you have to get those last minute gifts, this is perfect, and it really shows off what an incredible array of makers, we call them now,
Yes,
we
right.
have right here in the city.
Lastly, we want to talk about the City Open.
Yeah, what a great event. I have to say that I really enjoyed it. It's in my neighborhood, so
Yeah.
you know, I love to see all the excitement around City Open. But my favorite thing about this year's City Open, the winner of the singles, a 25-year-old American woman, Jessica Pagula.
Yep.
She won the City Open, and she had her dog come out onto the court
Right.
when she won, and then she did the press conference holding her really beautiful little Australian Shepherd. I have to say, I think Maddie is the name of the dog. She kind of stole the show, I think.
Yeah, I mean, surprised the dog behaved.
Oh,
behaved
yeah,
herself.
perfectly.
Really, I guess maybe used to the spotlight. Who knows? I don't know.
Definitely.
But you know, just like bringing a kid up to the podium.
You never know.
NBA players have done that. I've seen before in the past. You bring up your dog. You don't know what they're going to do. You don't know if they're going to run off on you or knock over a drink or a microphone. So yeah, that's brave on her part.
Definitely, but Maddie was very cute.
All right, well, coming up, it's the Kennedy Center reimagined with a bold expansion of its campus years in the making. We'll take you there.
And later, we'll introduce you to the unsung heroes who keep the gardens of the National Cathedral in full bloom. Don't go away.
For almost 50 years, the Kennedy Center has sat poised on the banks of the Potomac River, a beacon of artistic expression, performance, and culture. Now, for the first time in its 47-year history, the Kennedy Center is opening its first ever expansion, known as The Reach. To learn more, we caught up with the Kennedy Center's Vice President of Social Impact, Mark Balmuthi Joseph. Why is it called The Reach?
In large part because of our namesake, John F. Kennedy, who often used that word in his speeches. Among the more famous of his speeches is the Moonshot speech, where he called for Americans to aspire to more, to reach literally to new and unprecedented heights.
What's here? Yeah. What will people experience?
Experience is probably a better word than see, and I think that's intentional, right? So there's lots to see. There are new studios. We're here inside the Justice Forum, where folks might see the screening of an independent film, where folks might experience a talk with one of the Supreme Court justices. You might see the National Symphony Orchestra rehearsing or the opera rehearsing. You might see a dance company. So there's lots to see, but there's more to do. And that's the biggest difference, I think, between what we've traditionally held and hosted inside the Stone Building, inside the formal building, and this campus expansion. The idea behind The Reach is that it is an architecture that promotes embodied inspiration. So it's not enough just to like see a dance class or see a dance performance. You should take a dance class, launch a ball of your own, or throw a salsa party of your own. The idea is that this is a space that fosters participation.
You're going to get a different experience on each side. So you'd see more in the original building, more of like the show up and see a performance, and you're more maybe part of the performance in a place like The Reach.
Yeah, so you know, we've had a transactional model, as many arts institutions do, but you know, what the 21st century calls for is less of a transactional model and more of kind of a co-laboratory, a space of collaboration, a space of cooperation, but also a place of implication. So I can go to the Kennedy Center right now and buy a ticket and bear witness, but we don't just want witnesses. We don't want to just stand by, either in the democratic sense or in the creative sense. We want to be implicated. We want to share the stakes of making this culture together. And that's what this building fosters.
And your role here, you probably experienced that sort of sentiment from a lot of people that you deal with, which is they want to be a part of what's going on, or they want to be a part of the experience rather than just, like you said, bear witness to it. So tell me a little bit about your role here and what you do and how you're fostering that.
Sweet, yeah. My full title is Vice President and Artistic Director of Social Impact, and it's important, I think, to name both sides of my title, because as a vice president, I'm responsible for codifying our policies, naming our practices, naming our evaluation systems. But as artistic director, I find that a social practice is part of how I create in life. So I'm a poet, a writer, a choreographer, but I see curating community the same as someone else might curate jazz, or the same way that someone else might curate hip hop or dance. So my role here is to make sure that we have an ethical, coherent way of thinking about community-facing activity. But what we've been talking about is really the gig. It's a little bit more than making programs for people to watch. It's understanding, community collaborations, and fostering space, events, and resources for folks to make this place their own.
What do you hope people will say about the Reach and what it does and what the mission, and maybe it's how it's been fulfilled or how it's evolved, maybe 10 years after it's open and 10 years after it's been here, part of the Kennedy Center? How do you hope people will talk about this place or know this place?
I like that you said 10 years, because people tend to think of an opening as an opening day. But we're launching a culture here, and that's not going to take one day, it's not going to take 1 year, it might not even take 3 to 5 years. But this is going to be the place that we make. In time, it'll be a space that the people make, which is right in line with John F. Kennedy's language and symbolism to this country. And it's not going to be like some creative democracy that gets built up in the hills by giants somewhere. It's going to be the place that we make together.
Hard to imagine a more beautiful tradition in D.C. We'll bring you to the 2019 Flower Mart at the National Cathedral. Their mission is to provide for the care and beautification of the 57 acres that comprise the gardens and grounds surrounding the National Cathedral. They're the unsung heroes who specialize in gardening and horticulture. They volunteer their time preserving history and organizing projects and programs that support their efforts. Now, the story of All Hallows Guild. Hidden away from the busy, ongoing drone of activity in the capital city are the gardens and grounds found here on Wisconsin Ave at the National Cathedral.
I think people find the cathedral a very giving kind of environment. I think they come here just to enjoy the beauty of the 57 acres.
The custodians of these curated flowers and grounds, a group known as All Hallows Guild. They are volunteers who are dedicated to the preservation, restoration, and beautification of the horticulture surrounding the cathedral, and they've been doing it since 1916.
Everything from the bishop's garden to walls to amphitheaters, you name it. We do hardscape, lightscape.
Today, their volunteers' mission hasn't changed much from its origins. All Hallows Guild is responsible for events like this one, the National Cathedral Flower Mart, which raises money and awareness around their mission.
People can look forward to lots of rides and games for kids, great festival food, an international floral display in the nave, on top of hundreds of flowers, plants, and herbs that are sold in front of the cathedral.
Now in its 81st year, the Flower Mart is an event regulars look forward to.
It's a great way to support vendors in the community as well.
And as the name suggests, patrons can buy hundreds of flowers, plants, and herbs.
It's as pretty as anything you'll get because it's got all these buds on it.
This is a sweet potato plant. These attract butterflies.
I have some Monarda here, and then I have some summer savory.
Well, I work here at the cathedral, so I come every year, and I love it. I'm very excited. I'm very happy to have something that's good for my garden and also good for the cathedral.
And what might be the centerpiece, this antique carousel.
It's so iconic to Flower Mart. It's one of only 2 restored antique carousels in the nation, and so I think that's really emblematic because it delights people young and old alike.
Events like Flower Mart, membership dues, gifts, and passion for gardening and horticulture help All Hallows Guild keep the 59 acres surrounding the National Cathedral maintained and beautiful all year round.
I think that the summer of 2019 will be remembered for the fabulous Apollo 11 celebration on the mall. I know many thousands of residents were able to go down and enjoy the stunning view of having the Saturn V rocket projected on to the monument. It was really beautiful, and you really felt like you were experiencing that historic moment when Neil Armstrong landed on the moon, and everybody was so excited to be down there. So we wanted to just take a little look back in case you weren't able to get down to the mall. We wanted to show you some of that, and also encourage people to visit the Air and Space Museum, because the celebration for the Apollo 11 anniversary continues.
This was not only something incredible to see, it was also an incredible feat building it and bringing it to Washington, D.C. So, you know, just like the size of the mission itself, the tribute to it was also a big deal. And you're right, there's a lot to look to for coming up to the Air and Space Museum. So check out their website for some of those events, because the celebration is just rolling on. That is all the time that we have for today, but we'd like to thank you for joining us and encourage you to go check out more of our features, more of our shows that we have for you on YouTube, on our playlist. Go on there and search Entertain DC, and while you're there, hit subscribe.
See you next time.